Ethan Park's phone slammed against the polished conference table as it vibrated for the fifth time. The room instantly fell silent. 12 powerful men stopped breathing. No one interrupted Ethan during a meeting. No one. The billionaire businessman and feared Korean Mafia boss slowly lifted the phone, his cold eyes never leaving the trembling executive seated across from him. "Speak," a shaky voice answered from thousands of miles away. "Boss, it's Daniel." Ethan's expression remained unreadable. "I told you never to interrupt a board meeting unless someone died." Daniel inhaled. "I wish that was why I called." The room became even quieter. 7 months after your divorce, your ex-wife gave birth." Ethan frowned. Daniel continued before fear stole his courage. "Twins." The silence that followed was heavier than any explosion. Every man around the table looked down. Nobody dared breathe. Nobody dared move. Ethan's fingers slowly tightened around the phone. "What did you just say?" "Your ex-wife, Nia Brooks, gave birth to twins 6 days ago." His jaw clenched. "I confirmed it through hospital records." Another long silence. Then Ethan asked the question that stunned everyone. "You mean I have children?" "Yes, boss." A muscle twitched in Ethan's face. "She never contacted you." For the first time in years, the feared Mafia king looked completely lost. 7 months. 7 months after signing divorce papers. The woman he once loved had secretly carried his children, alone. If stories packed with shocking twists and emotional betrayals keep you glued to the screen, take 1 second to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments what you think Ethan will do next. Trust me, this story is only getting started. Ethan ended the call. No one spoke. He slowly stood. "The meeting is over." "But boss," one executive began nervously, "the shipping crisis." "I said..." His cold voice froze the man's blood. "The meeting is over." Within seconds, the conference room emptied. Only one man remained, Victor Choi, Ethan's most trusted advisor, the man who had stood beside him for nearly 10 years. Victor carefully watched Ethan. "I've already contacted our American office," he said. "We'll find her." Ethan walked toward the floor-to-ceiling window overlooking Seoul. The city sparkled beneath him. Normally, the sight reminded him of everything he had conquered. Tonight, it meant nothing. 7 months, he whispered. Victor remained silent. How does a man discover he has children 7 months after they're born? "I don't know." Ethan slowly turned. "I want every record connected to Nia. Everything. From the day we divorced." Victor nodded. "It'll be done." As Victor walked away, a tiny smile almost appeared on his face. Almost, because Ethan still didn't know the truth. Victor had known about the pregnancy for months, nearly 8,000 miles away. Nia Brooks gently rocked one baby while feeding the other. The tiny apartment in Chicago wasn't luxurious. The couch was old. The kitchen was small. The rent was barely affordable. But inside that apartment, there was peace. For now. "Easy, Noah," she whispered softly. The little boy stopped crying. His sister Naomi immediately started. Nia laughed despite her exhaustion. "You two planned that, didn't you?" Her older sister Maya entered carrying warm bottles. "I told you I'd help." "You've been helping every day. You don't have to do everything alone." Nia smiled. "I know." But deep inside, she had forgotten how to depend on anyone. Motherhood had changed everything. Every sleepless night, every feeding, every diaper, every tiny smile, made every sacrifice worth it. Maya sat beside her. "Have you ever thought about telling Ethan?" The smile disappeared. "No. He deserves to know." Nia looked at both babies. They deserve to stay alive. Maya lowered her eyes. She knew exactly what her sister meant, because she had watched everything happen. She remembered the fear, the strange cars, the anonymous threats, the men watching the apartment, the mysterious files left inside Nia's home. Someone had known about the pregnancy long before the babies were born. Someone dangerous. "I'm not keeping them from their father because I hate him," Nia said quietly. "I'm protecting them from the world he lives in." Maya squeezed her hand. I know. Nia looked toward the window. Every passing vehicle made her heart race. Every unfamiliar face made her cautious. Fear had become part of her daily routine. But she refused to let her children feel it. Not even once. 5 years earlier, Nia arrived in Seoul with one suitcase. She wasn't rich. She wasn't famous. She was simply one of the most talented fashion stylists anyone had ever worked with. She believed talent could open doors. She just didn't know how difficult those doors would be to unlock. At a luxury fashion launch, executives barely acknowledged her presence. Some assumed she was an assistant. Others ignored her ideas completely. Until one model stepped onto the runway, wearing an outfit that looked completely wrong under the bright lighting. Nia stood. The jacket has to change. The creative director frowned. And who asked you? The cameras will wash out the fabric. He laughed. You've been here 5 minutes. Nia calmly walked onto the stage. She adjusted the outfit herself. Then she looked directly at the photographer. Take another picture. He did. The difference was undeniable. Everyone became silent. Standing quietly near the back of the room, a man wearing a black tailored suit watched everything. Ethan Park. He wasn't there for fashion. He was there because he secretly financed the entertainment company hosting the event. Yet he couldn't take his eyes off the woman who refused to be intimidated. After the event ended, he found her loading garment bags into a taxi. You embarrassed their creative director. Nia smiled without looking at him. I corrected his mistake. You're fearless. No. She finally looked up. I'm just tired of pretending other people are always right. For the first time in days? Ethan laughed. A genuine laugh. It surprised even him. Over the next few weeks, he kept finding reasons to see her. Coffee waiting outside photo shoots, late-night dinners after exhausting fashion events, quiet conversations that lasted until sunrise. Unlike everyone else, Nia never cared about his wealth. She challenged him, disagreed with him, made him explain himself. And somehow, he loved that. For the first time since inheriting his father's empire, Ethan felt like an ordinary man, not a feared mafia king, just a man falling deeply in love. He had no idea that loving Nia Brooks would become both the greatest blessing and the greatest regret of his entire life. Their wedding was small, no reporters, no celebrities, no grand celebration. Just two people standing before a quiet officiant, promising each other a lifetime they genuinely believed they would have. For nearly 2 years, they were happy. Not because life was easy, but because they faced it together. Ethan learned how to smile more. Nia learned that beneath his cold reputation was a man who noticed everything. He remembered how she liked her coffee. He quietly replaced her worn-out shoes after a rainy fashion shoot. He stayed awake through the night whenever she had an important styling deadline. Those were the moments she fell in love with. Not the expensive gifts, not the luxurious penthouse, just the man. Then the cracks appeared. It started with silence. One evening, Nia noticed 2 black SUVs parked outside her studio. The same vehicles appeared again the next day, and the day after that. When she mentioned it to Ethan, his face lost its color. I'll handle it, he said. What does that mean? It means you don't have to worry. But why are they following me? I said I'll handle it. That answer hurt more than she expected. She wasn't asking for protection alone. She was asking for trust. Over the following months, the strange incidents multiplied. Someone searched her office without taking anything. An anonymous bouquet arrived with no sender. A photographer whispered that unfamiliar men had asked about her daily schedule. Each time she confronted Ethan, he gave the same response. I'll handle it. Eventually, she stopped asking. Not because she trusted his answers, because she knew she wasn't going to receive one. One rainy night, she stood in the living room, looking directly at him. I married you. Yes. I didn't marry your secrets. His eyes softened. I'm trying to keep you safe. No? She shook her head. You're trying to keep me uninformed. They're different. They're not. The silence between them stretched painfully. I don't even know what danger I'm supposed to be afraid of. You don't need to. I do if I'm your wife. Ethan wanted to tell her everything about the criminal empire, about the rivals waiting for one mistake, about the enemies who would use the people he loved against him. But his father's voice echoed inside him. Never expose your weakness. Never give anyone a target. So he said nothing, and that silence became the first brick in the wall between them. Months later, Nia filed for divorce. She cried the entire night before signing the papers, not because she stopped loving Ethan, because she loved him enough to realize love alone could no longer sustain a marriage built on unanswered questions. Ethan signed the documents without trying to stop her. He believed giving her freedom was another way of protecting her. Neither of them realized they were making the biggest mistake of their lives. 3 weeks after the divorce became official, Nia fainted during a photo shoot. The doctor smiled after reviewing the scan. "Congratulations," she frowned. "For what? You're expecting." Her heart skipped. "One baby?" The doctor laughed gently. "Actually," he turned the monitor toward her. "Two." Nia stared at the tiny heartbeats. Tears streamed down her cheeks. She had walked into the clinic believing she had lost everything. Instead, she had just discovered she had 2 new reasons to live. Her first instinct was to call Ethan. She even picked up her phone. Then she remembered the black SUVs, the strange men, the unexplained danger. Slowly, she lowered the phone. "I need time," she whispered to herself. She never imagined that 48 hours would change everything, because someone inside a private clinic sold confidential medical information. That information eventually reached one man, Chairman Han Min-seok, Ethan's oldest enemy. Han stared at the report on his desk before smiling. "So, the great Ethan Park finally has a weakness." He leaned back comfortably. "I've waited years for this." Across town, inside Ethan's headquarters, another copy of the report quietly landed on Victor Choi's desk. Victor read every page. He immediately understood what it meant. If Ethan had children, everything would change. The future leadership of the organization would belong to Ethan's bloodline. Victor would remain second forever. He slowly closed the folder. Then he made a decision that would destroy countless lives. He deleted every electronic report, burned every printed copy, intercepted every notification meant for Ethan. The pregnancy disappeared from the organization's records as if it had never existed. Then, Victor anonymously leaked small pieces of information to Chairman Han's network, just enough to keep the rival interested, not enough to expose himself. Back in America, Nia's fear grew. Someone entered her apartment while she was at work. Nothing was stolen, nothing was broken. Only one thing waited on the kitchen counter: her pregnancy records. She nearly dropped them. No note, no threats, no fingerprints, just one terrifying message. "We know." That night, she packed 2 bags. She called Maya. "I'm leaving." "Where?" "I don't know." "Does Ethan know?" "No." "Shouldn't he?" Nia looked down at her growing stomach. "If they can find me, they can find these babies. And if they know Ethan is their father—" She couldn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. Maya understood. Within 48 hours, the sisters disappeared. New city, new phone numbers, cash payments, different last names, no social media, no unnecessary conversations. Nia rebuilt her entire life from nothing while carrying twins. Back in Seoul, Ethan continued expanding his business empire. He had no idea that every kick, every heartbeat, every doctor's appointment, every sleepless night was happening without him. 7 months later, he finally knew, and now he couldn't forgive himself. Late that evening, Ethan sat alone in his office staring at a single photograph from their wedding. "I failed you," he whispered. A knock interrupted him. Daniel appeared on the screen through a secure video call. "I've started tracing Nia." "Good, but she's been extremely careful." "Careful people still leave footprints." Daniel nodded. "We'll find her." "I don't want her frightened." Daniel hesitated. "Boss, after 7 months, what if she doesn't want to see you?" Ethan lowered his eyes. "She doesn't have to forgive me. I just need one chance. One chance to tell my children their father never abandoned them. If she still tells me to leave," his voice cracked for the first time, "I'll respect it. But they deserve to know I never stopped loving them. Even before I knew they existed. If Ethan deserves a chance to make things right, let me know in the comments. And if this emotional journey has you invested, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because the biggest twist is still ahead, and it will change every life in this story forever. Marcus ended the call and immediately activated every trusted contact he had across Chicago. Within hours, one report stood out. A dark sedan had been seen outside Nia's apartment 3 different times that week. The same vehicle, the same 2 men, watching, waiting. Marcus called Ethan immediately. They found her. Ethan was already walking toward his private jet. I'm leaving now. Meanwhile, Nia stood by the apartment window, gently rocking Naomi to sleep, while Noah rested against Maya's shoulder. She noticed the sedan again. It wasn't hiding anymore. It didn't need to. Someone wanted her to know she was being watched. A cold feeling settled in her chest. They're here again, she whispered. Maya looked through the curtains. The same car, Nia nodded. We have to leave. But where? I don't know anymore. For the first time since arriving in America, she admitted something that terrified her. I'm running out of places to run. That night they packed once again. Before sunrise they planned to disappear. But fate moved first. The following afternoon, Nia left the apartment for less than 20 minutes to buy baby formula. She kissed both babies. I'll be right back. Maya smiled. I've got them. Nia hurried to the nearby pharmacy. She had barely reached the checkout counter when an uneasy feeling hit her. She abandoned everything and ran. By the time she reached the apartment building, the front door was open. Her heart stopped. Nia! Maya's trembling voice echoed from inside. She rushed in. Furniture was overturned. A lamp lay shattered on the floor. Maya was struggling to sit up, blood trickling from a cut above her forehead. They were here. Nia grabbed her shoulders. The babies! Maya broke down. They took them. Everything inside Nia collapsed. She sprinted toward the nursery. The crib was empty. Noah was gone. Naomi was gone. The room became silent. Too silent. Nia slowly sank to the floor, clutching the tiny blanket Naomi had been wrapped in that morning. For 7 months, she had survived every fear, every sacrifice, every sleepless night, only to lose everything in a matter of minutes. She cried harder than she ever had in her life. Then, she stopped. Her tears dried. Her breathing steadied. She looked at Maya. I'm done running. She picked up her phone, the only number she had secretly kept. Marcus answered before the second ring. Nia, they took my children. Marcus froze. Listen carefully, he said. We're bringing them home. He called Ethan immediately. Boss, they have the twins. There was no hesitation, no questions, only one order. Prepare the plane. 17 hours later, Ethan stepped onto American soil. His eyes were red from exhaustion. He had not slept, not for a single minute. Marcus handed him a file. We know where they're being held. Chairman Hahn. An abandoned warehouse outside the city. They want you to come alone. Ethan closed the file. They'll get exactly what they asked for. No. A familiar voice interrupted him. Both men turned. Nia stood behind them, tired, determined, unshaken. Our children are in there. I'm coming. Ethan looked into her eyes for the first time since the divorce. I'm sorry. She shook her head. Save that for later. First, we bring them home. The warehouse stood alone beneath the fading evening sky. Inside, Chairman Hahn smiled as he looked down at the sleeping twins. So this is what the mighty Ethan Park fears. One of his men entered. Boss, Ethan is here. And the woman? She's with him. Hahn laughed. Perfect. Bring them in. The steel doors rolled open. Ethan and Nia walked inside together. Neither looked away from the crib where Noah and Naomi slept peacefully. Every instinct in Nia screamed to run toward them. She didn't. She waited. Chairman Hahn smiled. I've waited years for this moment. Ethan remained calm. What do you want? Everything east of the river. Every business. Every route. And you disappear. Ethan answered without hesitation. Done. Nia turned sharply toward him. No, Hahn laughed. I expected that. Then Nia stepped forward. You built this entire plan on one assumption. Hahn raised an eyebrow. That I came here helpless. She calmly removed her phone. I didn't. I spent 7 months building relationships in this city. My friends are outside. They've recorded every face entering this warehouse. A local investigative journalist has everything. If my children don't leave with me, the entire world will know exactly who kidnapped 2 innocent babies." Han's smile disappeared. She continued, "You know what happens then. No business, no hiding, no quiet operations. Every agency, every reporter, every camera will be looking for you." Silence filled the warehouse. Han looked at Ethan, then back at Nia. He realized something. She wasn't bluffing. She had survived 7 months alone by thinking ahead. Finally, he sighed. "This isn't worth it." He nodded toward his men. "Release them." The guard stepped away from the crib. Nia walked forward with steady steps. She gently lifted Noah, then Naomi. Both babies opened their eyes for a brief moment before settling peacefully against her shoulders. Safe. Finally safe. She turned toward Ethan. Their eyes met. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then she smiled through tears. "Would you like to hold your son?" Ethan's hands trembled. The feared Mafia boss, who had faced countless enemies without fear, suddenly looked terrified. "What if I do it wrong?" Nia softly guided his hands. "You won't." He carefully lifted Noah into his arms. The tiny boy wrapped his fingers around Ethan's thumb. That single touch shattered every wall Ethan had spent his entire life building. Tears filled his eyes. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry you grew without me. I'm sorry I failed your mother." Nia watched quietly. This was not the ruthless man the world feared. This was simply a father. Weeks later, Ethan purchased a peaceful home outside Chicago, not because he wanted control, because he wanted his children close enough to know him. He never pressured Nia to return to Korea. Instead, he asked one simple question. "What do you want?" She smiled. "I want trust. You have it. I want honesty. You'll always have it. I want our children to grow up without fear." Ethan nodded. "So do I." One afternoon, Nia received a call from one of America's biggest fashion houses. She had been offered the position she had dreamed about long before meeting Ethan. She earned it herself, not because of his influence, but because of her talent. Ethan celebrated her success with genuine pride. Months later, he woke in the middle of the night to find both twins crying. Before Nia could get out of bed, he was already there, holding Noah, rocking Naomi, speaking gently until both babies drifted back to sleep. Nia stood quietly at the bedroom door. For the first time in a very long time, she didn't feel alone. She walked over and rested her head against his shoulder. Neither said a word. None was needed. Sometimes love isn't proven through grand speeches. Sometimes it's proven through changed behavior, through honesty, through trust, through choosing your family every single day. If this story touched your heart, tell us in the comments which moment moved you the most. The shocking phone call, the warehouse rescue, or the first time Ethan held his son. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more unforgettable stories of love, sacrifice, redemption, and second chances. Until the next story, remember, real strength isn't measured by the power you have over others, but by the love you're willing to protect.